If they ask you about physical anthro or new physical anthro or biological anthro, be sure whatever they are asking, that has to be emphasized. The details of the other have to be minimized as far as possible. Say for example, physical anthro is there, or any one of them. So you will start with what is anthro. Two major subdisciplines, one of them is biological, where we study biological evolution and variation. Then what is physical anthropology? I gave you three of them. What is the difference?
Physical sciences.
Actually, in the late 19th century, the subject that developed this is called physical anthropology. You should call it actually traditional physical anthropology if you want to differentiate from new physical. We have already known that in late 18th century, scientists became curious about human variations, and that led to the study of race. Then 1856, fossils. So the study of biological evolution through fossils. And then in 1871, Darwin said that man must have evolved from apes. So study of primates also started, monkeys, apes and man. Therefore, the subject that emerged towards the end of the 19th century, that should be aptly called traditional physical anthropology. It was once wrongly asked by UPSC as classical physical anthropology. There is nothing classical about it. Classical means ideal. So it had these three major heads: study of race, fossils, primates. And we called it physical because we studied morphology only, outer appearance. Race, we studied only morphological criteria. Primates, we study from morphological aspect only. Fossils were anatomical structures. But even that we don't study taking out their DNA. Whatever was there at the face value, we studied. So it was better, it was aptly called as physical anthro, or better should have been called traditional physical. And what was the objective? The objective was attempting answers to the basic inquiries of man about himself. Basic inquiries of man about himself, like who we are, where are we from, why are we different from each other, what will happen to us in future. Very basic inquiries about. Then changes started in right from the beginning of 20th century, and you have a whole list of those changes with years. ABO blood groups were discovered in 1900. Who discovered? Landsteiner. Who discovered RS blood groups?
Landsteiner
and someone more. Landsteiner and Levine, 1927. Then Hardy-Weinberg, 1928. Then in the second decade, cytology, cytogenetics, biochemistry. Then population genetics survey, first population genetics survey involving ABO blood group system, 1927 by Morant, and synthetic theory was given in 1930s. All these are given details in that book in one para. So all these changes, they had a strong impact on the subject matter and objectives of physical anthropology. What changes took place given there? Ever increasing role of genetics is there, studies involving interaction between heredity and environment is there, social biology is there, and objective also changed, it became more and more applied. Previously it was more ornamental. So all these changes in the subject matter and objective that took place in the first half of 20th century, these were given a collective name, New Physical Anthropology, by Washburn, 1951. Actually, after Second World War, only developed what we call international interdisciplinary approach, whereby scientists from different disciplines and different countries they interacted, and then only it was realized that the subject has made that much of headway. So Washburn gave a collective name, a generic name to all the changes that took place in the subject matter and objectives in the first half of 20th century. And you know, thereafter race we rejected. Now the issue is, what should we call this subject? In 1957, Washburn called it new physical. But whatever was new at that time, it has become an integral part. And there is nothing physical about it, it's more of genetics. That means today what we study, it is neither new nor physical. So really, and we have a multidisciplinary approach. More and more subjects are getting involved. Like molecular biology is also used now in fossil evidence. So we use a much wider term today that we call biological anthropology. Fine? So they may ask you physical, they may ask you new physical, emphasis will change, conclusion will remain the same.